Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. India crosses a milestone of 60 crore vaccinations. Our vaccination numbers are the highest in the world. The challenge, however, remains that the percentage of the population vaccinated is below 10%. Meanwhile, the government says 2 crore doses extra for states this month to vaccinate teachers. Kerala cases crossed 31,000 after Onam celebrations. Kerala positivity rate now above 19%. The centre wants caution for all states in festival season. Reopen Delhi schools ASAP. The task force submits its recommendations to the Delhi Chief Minister. The final decision will be taken by the LG and the Chief Minister as this becomes urgent with vaccinations for all kids unlikely before 2022. Why delay cases against MPs and MLAs? The Supreme Court tells the CBI and the Enforcement Directorate. The Chief Justice says investigations and a speedy trial is needed for justice of the people. The CJI also adds no cases can be withdrawn without High Court permission. Out on bail, Minister Rane's subdued press conference today, but he says won't let Maharashtra become West Bengal. Well, the Congress snubs Sidhu MLAs asking for a change. Backs Amarinder as Chief Minister, says he will lead the poll battle. But the Chief Minister Sidhu battle is getting worse in Punjab. Now a Sidhu advisor calls the Chief Minister and his aides Ali Baba Charlie's Chor. Huge political row over Bengal teachers' suicide attempt. Cases are now filed by the state against the teachers. The teachers drank poison yesterday, but the minister calls them BJP workers. BJP leaders meet teachers in hospitals, say the government is acting draconian against them. Mirzapur to Vindhyadham, Miaganj to Mayaganj, erasing UP's culture, the majority report. Our lead story tonight, India has crossed a major vaccination milestone. We've crossed 60 crore vaccinations. That's 600 million. That's more than the population of many European countries. Vishnu breaks down the data. Vishnu.
Well, it is a very impressive number, 60 crores, but it really depends on how you look at it. In terms of absolute numbers, 60 crore is a world record. It is absolutely huge. But if you actually look at the pace at which we've managed to get to that number, the question that needs to be asked is that fast enough? Now, there is an improvement. If you look at the number of days it took us from 1 to 10 crore doses, it was a whopping 84 days. Not enough vaccines were available. That went down 44, 29 for every 10 crore doses, and the final 10 crore, 50 to 60 crore doses at 19. But the problem is this, the vaccine gap that exists in the country at the moment. So this graphic that you actually see over here shows you on top, the red line is what is required and the blue line underneath it is what is the present state, and the arrow in between shows the vaccine gap. We need to vaccinate well more than 1 crore doses every single day, and that's not happening. We are vaccinating on an average at approximately half of that number. In fact, a little more than half, less than half that number is what we are sort of vaccinating at this stage. And that's a big concern, because remember the target, 60% is what we are looking at. Both doses, all adults, we will not meet that by December is the worry. But within India, there are states which have done better than the others. Kerala has vaccinated 21% with both doses, followed by Delhi, Gujarat and Uttarakhand. So the question which a lot of people may be asking is that why then do we have such large numbers of cases in Kerala, and why then are they doubly vaccinated? The question is, the vaccine actually helps to ensure you don't end up being a potentially very sick case, so you don't die, but hospitalization numbers are reduced, but you still need to get vaccinated. So how does India actually rank at a global level? Again, in terms of the percentage of people completely vaccinated. Take a look at Canada at 66%, the United Kingdom at 62%, France 56%, Germany, the United States and India at just 9.4%. That's the problem. We need to be double vaccinated for everybody who is eligible for vaccination, hopefully by the end of the year.
Right, Vishnu, that is an interesting point there that you made, that how Kerala has the highest vaccinations, but the fact is that Kerala now has over 31,000 cases just reported today. This apparently after the post-Onam celebrations, the centre warning that how festival season must be observed with caution in all states. But if you look at the Kerala versus India trends, you can see there that Kerala is now almost touching 80% of all India's cases. Let's look at why.
A symbolic race with just 3 boats at Aranmula this Onam, instead of the usual grand visual spectacle on the Pamba River. Despite the low-key celebrations, Kerala reported a sharp post-Onam spike to 31,455 cases on Wednesday. That is 8 out of 10 cases in the country. Kerala's Health Minister Veena George has called for increased vigil over the next 4 weeks as exposure at public gatherings during Onam season is expected to show up in the next 7 to 10 days with the spread of the highly infectious Delta variant. The state is firming up plans to vaccinate everyone above 18 by September end. Health economist Rijo John, who had earlier said Kerala's high numbers is due to better testing, has now pointed out that daily testing in the state had come down by 35% over the last 2 weeks. That showed up as a 14% decline in 7-day average of daily cases over 2 weeks. But test positivity rate during the same period went up from 12% to 16% and crossed 19% on Wednesday. The only reassurance for Kerala is that there has not been any major increase in ICU occupancy and hospitalization despite surge in new cases, and case fatality rate remains one of the lowest in the country at 0.5%. The centre has blamed rising cases in Kerala to Onam and has said they would provide 1.1 crore vaccine doses so that the state can vaccinate everyone above 18 by September end. Even otherwise, the sero prevalence in the state is only 44%. With SP Babu in Thiruvananthapuram and Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Meanwhile, an expert committee, a task force set up by the Delhi government, has recommended that Delhi schools should reopen soon. In fact, they've said it should happen as soon as possible. They've also recommended the phased reopening, first for children in senior school, then middle school and primary school. Now, this has to be approved by the Delhi Disaster Management Authority, headed by the Lieutenant Governor and the Chief Minister. This is especially important as schools around India are now opening up, and also the wait for a vaccine for children is likely to be at least till February next year for all children to be vaccinated.
The new Zydus Cadila vaccine for children above 12 years in India means a chance to finally go back to school for Om Tiwari, a class 5 student who will turn 12 this December. Om has mostly been confined to this 2-bedroom home in South Delhi since the COVID pandemic began, attending online classes on a smartphone his parents bought just last year, with earnings from a grocery shop that his father runs.
Almost 2 years हो गए हैं.
Almost 2 years. बोर नहीं हो गए हो तुम?
हाँ, बहुत बोर हो गया. अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पाती मैम.
खतरा एक तरह से हर तरह वैक्सीन तो लगनी चाहिए बच्चों को. हमारे अंदाज से तो जैसे बड़ों को सेफ किया जा रहा है तो बच्चों को पहले सेफ्टी पे ध्यान देना चाहिए.
तो पूरे 2 डोज के बाद ही भेजेंगे आप?
हाँ जी.
But while the ZyCoV-D vaccine will be added to the vaccination program in 4 to 5 weeks, children like Om are unlikely to get it before February next year, as per Health Ministry sources who say that not all children need COVID-19 vaccination. ZyCoV-D will first be rolled out to the adult population, and children with comorbidities may be prioritized. Only 1% of adolescents between 12 to 18 years of age are vulnerable to serious cases of COVID-19, as per the Health Ministry.
To all the parents who want their children to be vaccinated before children go to school, please remember that children have a low risk of disease, and vaccination of children is not a prerequisite to send them to school.
An expert panel constituted by the Delhi government has also recommended the phased reopening of school for all classes. The government is yet to take a final decision based on their report. Although the vaccination of children will not be a requirement to reopen schools, and for good reason, it is clear that many anxious parents will continue to isolate their kids. They will have to wait a few more months to get the vaccine. With Pooja Arya, Meher Pandey for NDTV.
Meanwhile, in other news, in a Supreme Court hearing over Uttar Pradesh withdrawing 77 cases, which includes against MPs and MLAs accused in the Muzaffarnagar riots, the judge had tough words for the CBI and other agencies. The Chief Justice of India said speedy trials are needed and slammed the CBI and Enforcement Directorate for delays in 243 cases involving MPs and MLAs. The Chief Justice said very few cases are reaching, and since these involve public representatives, these cases cannot just be withdrawn, and that this withdrawal should not happen unless the High Court clears it. Well, the latest from Punjab, Chief Minister Amarinder Singh got backing from the Congress of the Centre, with General Secretary in charge Harish Rawat saying Amarinder Singh will lead the poll battle in Punjab. This as various MLAs loyal to Navjot Singh Sidhu have asked that the Chief Minister be sacked. So as the battle gets worse on the ground, now Navjot Singh Sidhu's advisor has tweeted calling the Chief Minister and his aides Ali Baba and Charlie's Chor.
Another day, another rebellion faction for the Congress to deal with. A day after demanding the replacement of Amarinder Singh as Punjab Chief Minister, rebel MLAs from Punjab, including 4 ministers, met Punjab Congress in charge Harish Rawat today, reiterating their demand. Though to their disappointment, Mr. Rawat said Captain Amarinder will stay Chief Minister and be the Chief Minister face for 2022 polls.
मैं अभी हमने सीएम के फेस के विषय में कुछ कहा है और सत्यता ये है हम अमरिंदर सिंह जी के नेतृत्व में ही 2022 में चुनाव में.
But in a sign that the thaw arrived at by the High Command with Sidhu as party chief may have really not worked. Mr. Rawat admitting grievances do exist.
वो जो उनकी शिकायतें थी, कांग्रेस का कोई एमएलए यदि अपने को इनसिक्योर समझता है तो ये बहुत चिंताजनक है.
और हम इनसे मिलकर इनकी जो हमें आश्वासन दिया उससे सेटिस्फाइड है और अब ये बात हमारी आगे रखेंगे. जो फैसला हाई कमांड करेगी हम उसके साथ जाएंगे.
Though Mr. Rawat maintains that crisis will be over soon, Navjot Singh Sidhu continues to be under attack from the captain's camp.
जो एडवाइजर है पता नहीं कहां से आए. कांग्रेस पार्टी के जो लोग हैं ये पार्टी के प्रधान हैं, तो पार्टी प्रति इनको ऐसे चुनने चाहिए जो पार्टी में से आए हैं.
Earlier this week, the Gandhis reportedly expressed their displeasure when Sidhu's key aides, Malvinder Mali, posted a Facebook post that the captain camp said was pro-Pakistan. Another aide put up a post against Indira Gandhi. The question is, will repeated revolts and open differences cost Congress the election in the state?
Punjab Affairs in charge Harish Rawat has maintained that Captain Amarinder Singh will be party's face for the next assembly elections. But a tough task lies ahead for the central leadership to resolve the crisis which has been plaguing the state unit for the last couple of months. In Chandigarh, Mohammad Ghazali for NDTV.
Well, in other news, in Kolkata, the 5 teachers who publicly drank poison yesterday to protest what they claimed were punishment transfers have sparked a full-blown political fight. The West Bengal Education Minister has called them BJP cadre, and the BJP has hit back demanding his resignation. All 5 women who had what was possibly pesticide are in hospital, at least 2 in critical care.
5 women teachers drank a poisonous substance here on Tuesday in front of police, in front of the office of the Education Minister, Bratya Bose. They are still all in hospital, at least 2 of them in critical care, under watch for 48 more hours for impact of the pesticide they consumed. Doctors say an organophosphate. Nearly 24 hours after the incident, the Bengal Education Minister broke his silence. In social media posts, he said, since December, Mamata Banerjee had hiked wages, given increments and retirement and health benefits. Those protesting after all that, he said, are not teachers. They are BJP cadre. The teachers have been charged on several counts, including Section 353 of IPC for assault of public servants discharging their duty. They could well be arrested once they are discharged from hospital. The Union Minister of State for Education, Dr. Subhash Sarkar, was not allowed entry into the hospital building when he went there to ask after the ailing teachers. BJP has denied any links with those teachers and said the Bengal Education Minister must resign.
You are not paying teachers, you are paying clubs, you are paying all these festivals, you are paying all these imams for Imam Bhata, but you don't have money to pay teachers. The backbone of the society is going for suicide. 5 teachers are for suicide. It's shame for us. It is shame for us.
Police are not taking the matter lightly. Besides the non-bailable offence for which they may be arrested, 5 women teachers currently in hospital have been charged also with attempt to commit suicide. With G.D. Shankar, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Is filing cases against these teachers only going to make matters worse? Meanwhile, in Uttar Pradesh, the majority project is marching on. Now with more names to be changed, amongst suggestions for name changes include Mirzapur and Miaganj.
Miaganj in Uttar Pradesh's Unnao district is set to become Mayaganj after a name change proposal at the behest of the BJP MLA in the area. Mia is sometimes used as a prefix or a suffix in Muslim names in India and elsewhere.
ग्राम पंचायत मियागंज द्वारा ग्राम पंचायत मियागंज का नाम बदलकर मायागंज किए जाने का प्रस्ताव प्रस्तुत किया गया है। उक्त प्रस्ताव खंड विकास अधिकारी और उपजिलाधिकारी के माध्यम से प्राप्त हुआ है। उक्त प्रस्ताव शासन को अग्रिम कार्रवाई हेतु प्रेषित किया गया।
A UP government minister has also demanded the renaming of eastern UP's Mirzapur to Vindhyadham. Mirzapur has the famous Ma Vindhyavasini temple, a popular pilgrimage spot.
हम भी चाहते हैं कि मिर्जापुर का नाम बदल करके विंध्यधाम कर दिया जाए और यह बहुत ही अति जरूरी है और जनता की भावनाओं के साथ मैं आवाज़ उठा रहा हूँ कि जनता भी देखने चाह रही है कि बहुत पुराना नाम मिर्जापुर का है, किस उद्देश्य से रखा गया था, लेकिन विंध्यधाम हो जाए तो यहाँ के लोगों की आस्था की पूर्ति भी होगी।
मैं आदित्यनाथ योगी।
After Adityanath became UP Chief Minister in 2017, there have been a host of high-profile name changes in the state, including the most recent proposal by a local body to change the name of Miaganj to Mayaganj. In 2018, the UP government renamed Allahabad, home to the famous Sangam, to Prayagraj. 10 days ago, a local body cleared a proposal to rename Western Uttar Pradesh's Aligarh to Harigarh. Other proposed name changes are of Central UP's Mainpuri district to Mayanpuri and Firozabad in Western UP to Chandranagar. In November 2018, the UP government had announced the renaming of the Faizabad district to Ayodhya, the same name as the temple town 100 kilometers from Lucknow. With Indresh Pandey, Gaurav Sharma and Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Shocking news coming in from Mysuru in Karnataka. On Tuesday at around 7:30 in the evening, a young woman and her male friend were at Chamundi Hills. Now that's a forest, that's a popular tourist spot. It has a much visited temple on the outskirts of Mysore. Yet there apparently they were surrounded by a group of men who asked the couple for money. They ended that evening in hospital with severe injuries. The young woman allegedly gang raped and her companion brutally beaten. Over 24 hours later, there's still been no arrests.
FIR ದಾಖಲಾಗಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳನ್ನ ಉನ್ನತ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳನ್ನ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಂದ ಮೈಸೂರಿಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ನಾಳೆ ಮೈಸೂರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇದೊಂದು ದುರದೃಷ್ಟಕರವಾದಂತ ಸಂಗತಿ. ಫರ್ದರ್ ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರಿಯನ್ನು ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಬಹಳ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ನಾನು ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ.